True quality is invisible because when it's there, you don't have to think about it. Listeners, stay with us. We're going to do a deep dive on quality and why it matters. Welcome back to the Space to Be Well. I'm Michele Pelafas.
And I'm Valerie Putman.
Yes, you are.
I am.
And we are here today talking about wellness design as a philosophy. And we continue in our first season speaking about wellness design and how it impacts us and how it is an important part of our well-being in the environments that we live in and work in. And so we spoke about the principles of wellness design in our last two episodes, and they're important. We talked about luxury, the big L, hospitality, the big H, and listeners, we're going to talk about the big Q today, which is quality.
Yeah, quality.
Quality is an important aspect and principle of wellness design. It plays a key role. Quality has the ability to help us to have freedom, freedom from worry, freedom from distractions. It gives us peace of mind. It gives us confidence. And that's important in our daily lives as we go about our days, no matter where we are in our home or our work. It's so important to go about this in our daily lives. And, I find it interesting that when we talk about wellness in general, everybody understands the concept of quality nutrition. And we all know there's a derivative of that. We have, well-being, physical well-being is a direct connection of quality nutrition, quality supplements, quality workouts. We all understand that mentally, physically, it impacts us and enhances our well-being. But we don't really talk about quality environments as it relates to our well-being, but there's a direct connection.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it's something that nobody's talking about. And we want to go on record saying here, we're the first to make that connection between quality and well-being. There's a distinct connection. We're willing to pay for, quality supplements and those modalities that we talked about, even wellness treatments, right? Going to these wellness establishments, that when you're buying quality that you get what you pay for. But I think we need to take this down a deeper path because yes, you get something that lasts long. You get something that, sort of stands the test of time. I think those are obvious, sort of what you would expect when you pay for something of quality. But there's a deeper benefit.
Absolutely. I think with quality, there's actually a lot of different layers to quality as it relates to design. Whether it's starting with the quality of the decisions that you're making, whether it's the inherent quality of the design that you're building in your environment, and whether it's the quality of the materials and finishes that we talked about, or, I think we could go on and on here. The quality of in totality is just really so important to that connection of well-being.
There's an economy to quality, isn't there? Mm-hmm. We talk about this economy and, getting what you pay for. And there's a formula, essentially, and this is what we help our customers do every day is yield that return on investment. And that investment is in yourself. It's in the people that are participating in the space. I completely agree with you that this is something that there's many different levels to quality. And I think that I want to start by talking about the pre-planning because you get what you pay for, but you get what you put into it, right? And the quality of the work that you put into creating your environment you'll be a direct recipient of that, either positively or negatively. And I'm taking you back again, listeners, to the resonant framework. because that's called quality planning. Quality planning is doing the deep dive on your identity. Quality planning is doing a deep dive on your rituals and your behaviors, really focusing on the, on the functional aspects of the space. Quality planning is looking at your why and understanding why you're doing something, and why you're creating this design. And quality is looking at the connections and how people connect in the space. And when you do this and you do this effectively and you put the quality time into the planning, you yield a quality result.
So true. So true. I mean, think about the opposite of that. You know, if you decide one day, you know what, I'm going to do this remodel. I just, on a whim, I was inspired by this Pinterest image and now I'm going to, go locally. I'm going to pick up some furniture. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I repaint, blah, blah, blah. In a weekend, bada bing, bada boom, you've got a new space. But at the end of the day, is that a lasting decision? Did you make good choices? Was the planning there? And I would have to say that 9 times out of 10, you are going to wish that you had, maybe I should have thought about that a little bit more, because now I have to redo something. I don't like how it turned out.
Exactly. And I've always said this. This is why I think it's something that you need to be thinking about. I've always been a proponent of living in a space first before you spend money building out a space. And, I've experienced this many times. I know close friends and family who have built homes from the ground up. And typically when you're working with the builders, you're making hasty decisions about superficial things. What is the handles? What is the countertops? And those are decisions those are easy decisions, but there's so much more that goes into creating a quality environment than just a decision on the countertop and the hardware. And so it's all about living and understanding and doing the quality, understanding your lifestyle, understanding who you are. And sometimes that takes time. And it really comes back to this economy of quality and what you put into it. To your point, if you make mistakes, that's money right there that is not well spent.
And time.
And time.
Yeah.
And you can't get that back.
No, absolutely.
At the end of the day, when you're thinking about your own well-being, here's a big thing. It's a life well lived is a life that functions and runs in the proactive realm. It's a life that is lived in your parasympathetic nervous system. When you are living a life that is in the reactive mode, then you're living in your sympathetic nervous system, which is not where you want to be in terms of being proactive. There's such a big difference. When you're living proactively, you have the time to take care of yourself. You have the time to take care of people in your life. You have time to achieve, goals and plan for your future, and spend time taking care of yourself or planning a vacation, whatever that is. And so when it comes to quality can hold you back. So when you have poor quality furniture in your space, let's just think about those things in your home that cause friction, whether it's the squeaky cabinet or the drawer falling out or the floor that's run down. These all relate to quality issues, and quality holds you back. And then you're always being reactive, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. If you have even, let's say, a chip of paint missing on your wall or a crack somewhere, and every time that you walk by that squeaky piece of furniture or that chipped paint, your mind automatically is going to, oh my gosh, I should get that fixed. Why haven't I gotten that fixed? Oh my gosh, that's on my list. And instead, you should just be, your mentally should be somewhere else, where your brain's forward thinking about how you can be proactive in things that you're doing to better your life, and not necessarily just stuck on, something that needs a better quality.
Repair, because you're focused on distractions.
Yeah.
Every little detail is a distraction, whether it's, the paint job that needs to happen. And so there's ways to create finishes and furniture. We talk about craftsmanship that goes into, so it's back to this economy of quality. What you put in will yield that result. And so, rather than investing in a floor that needs to be refinished year after year after year, why not think about investing in a floor that doesn't require that and is going to stand the test of time? Because what that does is it gives you freedom from the distractions, freedom to be free. And it gives you that peace of mind. It really is all about, the space, really just saying you're cared for, that you're seen, that you're, focused on your well-being.
Well, I think you really did such a great job of that, Michele, at your home, right? You remodeled your floor into just this beautiful porcelain tile for that very reason, right? You wanted ease of maintenance, you wanted something sustainable, and that was just going to stand the test of time. And that's yielded such a great result for you.
Exactly. And I think our experience in working in the commercial field has really helped to push me more towards commercial in my home. And today, commercial is amazing. The fabrics and the finishes that go into commercial grade finishes, including porcelain floors, are amazing. And I incorporate a lot of commercial grade into my home. The porcelain floor always looks meticulous. It is no maintenance other than a quick sweep or a vacuum. And then the other element that I use in my home is commercial grade fabrics. They're soft. They're beautiful to the touch. And I've had my dining room upholstered chairs I've had for, oh my goodness, a long time.
Yeah.
And they look pristine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing with high performing fabrics, is that it's nowadays with commercial, you can really find that balance of something that still looks really beautiful, really luxury, and also is going to wear like it should, that has the quality associated with it for long-term use.
I'm even a big proponent of, durable panels on the wall, even porcelain walls or porcelain panels that look beautiful. They look like marble or stone or quartz, and they have this beautiful look and feel to it, and they're completely maintenance free. Paint does chip. So if you've got kids and, they're running around the house, even a good commercial grade vinyl wall covering can be very durable in a home and hold up better than paint can many times.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming back to, you kind of briefly mentioned the idea of craftsmanship. And I think that really is a big talking point when we talk quality. And craftsmanship, I think on the surface, it really resonates like this idea of kind of this premium kind of idea of, really bringing together the aspect of a fine material and a person who's actually crafting this to perfection. But I think it could also even get a little bit deeper than that, because with craftsmanship, I think you can establish this sense of trust, that whoever's making this piece for you, that, they're creating something that's meant to last. It's meant to be used and, to have that wear with it. What do you think about craftsmanship?
Oh, well, and I think it's contagious.
Yeah.
I love your point that you made about, when you think of craftsmanship, you think about people. Meticulous craftsmanship is really important. We have craftspeople.
Yes.
We're a craft-based company. And so our furniture is handmade, much of it. And so we understand that meticulous quality that goes into craftsmanship. And there's pride associated with that. When somebody makes something and they have that pride of what they're doing, that means they put tender, loving care into what they're creating. And that translates to the receiver. And so some ways there's this idea of craftsmanship being contagious. And we as the person who's now experiencing that craftsmanship is we're receiving that love. We're receiving that care, that pride translated into something that now is a mirror of what they created and how that loving kindness went into now creating that safety and care and a tailored piece that's in your world.
I love that.
The other part of craftsmanship is, what goes into it in terms of, how does the floor feel underneath your feet? When it goes into craftsmanship, even a good quality floor is important in craftsmanship. Or think about a chair, right? A good quality chair and how it's tailored to you and the craftsmanship that goes into a chair that just fits you just right. A lot of times there's a unspoken language that happens when craftsmanship is made, and it's made and tailored for your lifestyle.
Yeah, that intentional part of design, that's the freedom that, I think we've been talking about too. It's having a chair a sofa that fits your exact preferences and that quality just really is going to resonate in long term, just help you live your best life.
Exactly. So, it says you're valued. It says you're cared for. It says you're safe.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit in a chair that's going to fall apart.
Exactly.
So true.
Yeah, that would be the worst.
Mm-hmm. When you're thinking about quality and you're on a budget, we talk about this with our clients all the time. There's no right or wrong answer, but you need to decide, do you want to buy disposable or do you want to buy quality? Either way, coming back to this economy of quality, either way, you pay for it in some ways. Mm-hmm. So let's take, for example, a waiting chair in a medical spa, for example. You can pay $299 for a waiting chair, and it's most likely going to be residential grade. And it's maybe going to last, if you're lucky, 3 years, maybe a little bit less. And then you're going to end up buying something new to replace it. We have some clients, they come to us and they say, you know what? I am going to want to mix up my chair. I'm not one to commit. And, therefore making the decision and making the intentional decision to buy something disposable because you do want to mix it up. But either way, you're paying the same amount over the long run versus somebody who says, you know what, I want to invest in quality today because I don't want to think about it 3 years from now. And that's what gives you the peace of mind when you're thinking about quality.
Yeah. And I think too, when you decide to make that decision that you want to invest in quality today, I think what that also does is allows you to just feel more free in your decision, and that, you can live the quality of life that you want to live right now, today, and you don't have to wait, 3 years from now when you decide to invest in that later. So, well,
and we know how fast time goes, right? So it may be, I don't want to worry about it right now.
Yeah.
But you will be worrying about it sooner than later because we know how fast time goes. So, you may not worry about it today, but you are going to have to worry about it, 2 and 3 years from now. And so that's just something I think that's important to be thinking about when you're making those decisions on a budget. We help our clients, and it's an educational process, right? Just knowing you have a choice in what you do.
Absolutely.
And just understanding the result of those choices.
Quality decisions.
Quality decisions, exactly. Have you guys ever noticed that when you're in a quality environment, you actually carry yourself differently? Have you ever noticed that? If you're walking in a really high-end boutique, you're carrying yourself much differently than if you're in a sort of corner grocery store. There's truth behind that. We do carry ourselves differently in quality environments. And so when you're thinking about, and I've always said that when it comes to well-being and you're thinking about, confidence, there is a direct connection between quality and confidence and how we carry ourselves in the spaces that we live in or participate in, like the boutique, for example, or a high-end hotel as another example. And I think you really need to be thinking about, what is that like in your home?
Absolutely. On the day-to-day, do you think about, how you're going to present yourself, what you wear? Does that give you confidence? Is it a quality piece of clothing, or is it a quality handbag that you carry? I think those same principles you can apply directly to your environment, because that environment that you're surrounding yourself in, think of how many days of a year we are inside our built environment. And if you think of the quality that if you were in a highly quality type of space, how much different your life may be versus the opposite. So I think that's so important.
It's so important. And that's the whole connection between quality and well-being. This is why quality is such an important principle of wellness design, and one that has to be talked about. It has to be discussed. It has to be reviewed and thought about it in these design projects that you're working on, because quality matters.
Quality does matter, just like people matter. And if you have good quality, you're making people happy.
Exactly. Giving them confidence, helping them to feel safe and secure and valued.
Yeah.
That's what goes in. For business owners, we talk about this a lot. If you offer quality services and your environment does not mirror your quality services, it is a reflection on what services you're offering. I'm telling you right now, your environment has to mirror the quality of service that you're offering, because how your environment looks and feels to your customer will make a big difference as to whether they trust you.
Yeah.
Because with quality comes trust. And that's true even when you're visiting a friend or family, member in their home. Do they have an environment that you can trust? And how does that foster relationship and open up people? People feel, when they trust, they feel safe and they open up more. And so, listeners, if, we talked about the business, but even in your own homes, how is your house built to facilitate this idea of trust so that it fosters conversations and people feel safe to open up, whether it's with family, friends, or, extended family that you have in your home? Drop us a line. Let us know what your thoughts are about quality and some of the experiences you've had with quality and how it makes a difference. We're always looking to hear from you, and we're really excited about these principles. We talked about luxury, we talked about hospitality, we talked about quality, and next week we are going to talk about the principle of spa.
That sounds so fun. I can't wait.
Me too.